information technology, as well as our network of experts. I mentioned the Global Agenda Councils earlier, and we had very deep engagement within our Global Agenda Councils from sustainable energy, future of sustainable construction, future of real estate, future of mobility. So these are like the global experts in these different issue areas. And together, and then on the right-hand side, you can see, I didn't mention the Global Agenda Council on Urban Management, which also played a key role. And again, ICLEI is represented on that, and you can see some of the names on the list. So it was really a collaborative process to put together, as a first step, a very simple to understand framework of thinking of all the different urban sustainability issues. I put on the screen here some of the examples of the cards. They're hard to see because it's not really meant to be put on a screen, I suppose, but here's the examples of the cards. So this is the card set. It has the example of the issue. This is actually the overview card of the city issues, and then on the back has the details. So this is the card that belongs in every one of the card sets that highlights from the 50 cities that took part in the survey in 2008, and probably some of you in this room helped fill that survey out, that the top high important, high uncertain issues were around greenhouse gas emissions. So we're talking about this top right-hand quadrant, energy efficiency, sustainable urban planning. Just to give a couple other examples of the cards. So within the sustainable buildings, this is a card on living streetscapes. Very simple concept that we would want a mayor to consider as one of 25 things to think about when they're designing their buildings, strategies and policies, about using natural vegetation to green the streetscapes because of the energy benefits. And so each of the cards again would have a photo that sort of captures the key concept, and on the back is a little detail. It references some cities. In this case, it referenced Basel, Linz, and Toronto as cities who have used these. Usually some graphic that highlights. One other card I just wanted to show because it's an example of where we think these cards can trigger some follow-up action. This card is around global certification. Probably with the diversity of people in this room, we have probably all 5 green building standards represented. And one of the opportunities is to harmonize this so that what is a green star building in one part of the world equals a 6-star or equals a platinum rated LEED building in another part of the world. So we've already started a discussion with the U.S. Green Buildings Council who has asked the forum together with some of the counterparts to see how we can help facilitate a dialogue around trying to create some harmonization around standards. So where can we work further with ICLEI, but therefore you, because you are all members of ICLEI for the most part? The first item is these cards are not, we're nonprofits. We're not making money on these, or nor do we intend to. So distributing these to you in terms of a digital form, because we don't have an unlimited supply of the hard copies, but I gave Conrad and his team 10, so you can see if you can get one from him. Obviously, an easy opportunity is to digitize these cards and make these available for you to use as a way to kick off a discussion or a roundtable discussion in your own city. We did this in Melbourne. In fact, I did that. I had the pleasure and honor of being in Melbourne about 3 weeks ago, and I know there are some participants from Melbourne who may have seen some of this, who might have been in that session where we used the card set to just kick off a discussion. They're not meant to be the be-all, end-all, but it's meant to be a great way to start a discussion around many of the key stakeholders that you all have to deal with in a mayor's office. And we have spoken to ICLEI about how we would be pleased to support getting this into their hands. And from what ICLEI does with you as your members afterwards is up to, in fact, a discussion that we'll have with the team, the ICLEI team after this session. It's also an invitation of some of the cities. In fact, Ms. Delgado Peralta, you might be aware, and you may have been involved with this, that the governor of Mexico is one of the cities that was involved in this first year of the project, and we in fact have an outstanding invitation to ask if you would like us to do something in Mexico City. I don't know if you knew that. It might be in your inbox, but we actually followed up with a handful of cities who helped guide this work. San Francisco, Milan, Barcelona, London, Mexico City. Rio de Janeiro to actually ask, would you like the forum to help facilitate a roundtable in your city? So we can talk about that afterwards. ICLEI has spoken a lot about this is great, and people on the panel have spoken about how concepts are great, but we need solutions. Mayors need solutions. They need to actually know, how did another city do it? How can we learn from that and actually have a trusted information source to implement a solution? Action. Fully support that. I think this is something we should be talking further with ICLEI on how we can support ICLEI in that process. I think ICLEI represents a fantastic platform to share that knowledge among your memberships. What one city is doing in one place on street landscapes is probably something that another city could learn from very quickly. I know there's other initiatives outgoing that are similarly trying to do this, as mentioned by Amy. And I think that's part of the role the forum can help play, is help try to bring some, as one of the, using our convening platform, an independent platform, to try to bring some sense to what C40 is doing, what World Bank's doing, what UNEP's doing, to just offer that service to all of you to kind of use our platform to coordinate. So, so the solutions on how we can do that effectively, so mayors don't get bombarded by 10 different organizations saying that we have solutions and databases for you, that it's somehow better coordinated, is a role that we'd be happy to play. We continue to engage ICLEI through Conrad in our Global Agenda Council on Urban Management. To be quite frank, I think that's a critical voice for you as this constituency to bring into this global platform on urban management. And one of the key focus areas over the coming year that all of the Global Agenda Councils are going to be asked to contribute on is a broader initiative of the forum called Global Redesign Initiative, which essentially believes that, that there's a crisis in global governance. We have to reset and relook at how global governance occurs. This is not just around urban issues, but around all of the issues, whether it's economic, environment, or social related. Urban management is going to play a key voice in that because, and I think we're preaching to the choir, the urban management governance and voice is lacking on a unified global level. And I think that's something that we would welcome ICLEI to be very involved with, Conrad representing you all. So last one is question mark, because we're open to other ideas. I think maybe what I'll end with is that Slim City as a project has, in our view at the forum, served its main purpose, which is already to start cataloging the discussion around some of these key issues. Within the 3 work streams, let me just go back to that slide again. Within these 3 work streams of smart grids, buildings, and mobility, we know there's going to be continued follow-up specific work in these 3 areas because our industry sector companies look to the forum to provide a voice and a coordinating platform around that. So again, many of you in this room, many of our fellow panelists are involved with some of these activities, and I think there's an opportunity on the individual work stream level to also have some of you get involved in whatever space those 3 work streams take. They're going to sort of take on their own life over the coming year and going into the next year, and I think that's something that we could explore. And so I guess I would just end by saying the forum is more than just Davos, and I think we have a lot of private meetings and working meetings around this topic that are happening. An example was on June 2nd in New York. We had a private strategy meeting between our engineering, construction, and real estate industries, and we spent some time talking about this project. And we had representatives from the World Bank. We had representatives from cities, the city of New York. We had other cities represented. I think Barcelona was there. So it's just an example of our platform. We get better value for everyone when we can have the right voices on the table, which means many of you and the organizations you represent sitting around the table. I'll end with that, and again, congratulations to the ICLEI team for this wonderful opportunity to bring everyone together and this conference overall. I think it's extremely valuable, and we're very pleased to be part of it. Thank you very much.